Today I'm going to try another Loire red, a nice light Gamay from the Loire Valley. This one comes from the eastern part of the Loire Valley in France, from the area of Touraine. It's near the town of Tours, quite an extensive region there. And it comes from two brothers who decided to start making wine organically some decades ago, and have kind of rejuvenated some old vineyards in the area using the traditional varieties of the region like Chenin Blanc, Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Gamay, even some other oddities like Cotte, which is the name for Malbec in the Loire, and some unusual varieties there as well, like Romorantin as well. Anyway, this one is a Gamay, the grape variety of Beaujolais in France, and this is called La Butte, is the cuvée name. And these guys are the brothers with the surname Puzelat, and they sell their wines under the house name Le Clos de Tue-Boeuf. And this one is the 2015 La Butte, which is 100% Gamay. 2015 was actually quite a ripe, a warm vintage, so I find that this is a little atypical of their stuff, but nevertheless quite delicious. It's a bit of a go-to wine for me. Has been for some years. I've been drinking their wines since 2010 actually, and continue to find them delicious, attractively priced, as I say, organic, naturally made, lower intervention anyway, in the winery and the vineyard. And they have vineyards around Touraine and Chevigny, which is in the far eastern part of the Loire as well, near the town of Blois. And let's get in there. Gamay from the Loire. Different expression to Gamay from Beaujolais. Already lovely, bright red berry fruit, juicy kind of smelling, like you want to just dive in and drink it. It's not too bright. This one's a little sweeter fruited than others, but it's in no way jammy. It's just that ripe vintage, but typically kind of red berry fruits, red currants, maybe a little strawberry on this one, but it's not that. It's quite a ripe strawberry actually, but it's not. It is actually a slightly jammy strawberry, but it's not sweet. A little bit of raspberry there too. It's all about these red berry fruits, and it's slightly earthy. Usually I find them actually more earthy, even a little undergrowth like, but not in a mulchy sense. more in a kind of undergrowthy smell of dank twigs and leaves, if that makes sense. But yeah, this one is a bit earthy. Bit of dark cherry on there too, because it's just a little riper than many of them are. Usually they express more red currant, but there's certainly red currant here. And then on the palate, lots of acid, very fresh, light, 12% alcohol this one, which is routinely where they kind of sit. Punchy flavour, juicy, fresh, a little bit of grip as well. Just a gentle astringency in the cheeks kind of thing. Very Moorish, very easy to drink. I tend to like to drink them probably younger than this actually, because this is a 4-year-old. And it's actually starting to probably develop a little bit in its fruit character. But nevertheless, it's just a great style. It's a style that I keep coming back to because it's just so easy and Moorish. Just delicious kind of drinking. Light, fresh, fruity, but not just about fruit. Again, all those things of the Loire Valley reds that I love. Not too heavy on the alcohol, a little bit of grip, interesting texture. If you want something that delivers that, and particularly if you're not used to that kind of style, the 2015 is probably a good way to go because it's a little bit riper. But if you want something a little more earthy, a little less fruity, then another vintage would probably be a better way to go. These retail for about $35 in Australia at the moment, and it's a similar price in the US, like around 25 US at the moment, and in France it's a bit cheaper. I think they're around about 14 euros or so retail. They used to be a lot cheaper actually. Their prices come up significantly. So when I started drinking them in 2010, you could get them at about $24. So they've come up another 50% since then. They're getting a name now, but for a good reason. They're still really attractively priced, I think, for what you're getting quality-wise. They're just incredibly drinkable. So you're looking for a lighter Loire red or a white from the Loire that really does a good job of the classic Eastern Loire style of Sauvignon Blanc or Chardonnay or blends thereof, or some unusual varieties like the Cote, the Malbec of the Loire, or some Pinot Noir from the Loire. Then the Puzelat brothers are doing fantastic stuff. Their label, Le Clos de Tue-Boeuf, is a really great way to go. Gamay from the Loire. Try it.
Oh man, it smells delicious.
It's showing a little age, I think, as I said.
Yeah.
Because it's usually we drink them much younger.
Yeah.
Like within a couple of years of vintage.
Starting to get that sort of caramelized edge on the fruit or something. Yeah.
I think that's slightly because it's one of those riper vintages as well. Yeah. But you can see that fruit kind of turning, like almost going a little Pinot-like. I find that Gamay, when it ages, it tends to go a bit more Pinot-like.
Yeah.
Like it gets a bit more mulchy and the fruit kind of isn't as bright anymore.
Mm-hmm. Sort of the edges smooth out.
Yeah.
You can almost tell from the nose. I'm not drinking at the moment for viewers. The VA, there's a bit of VA there, but that sort of the way it smells makes me think that on the palate you'd get that sort of bit of a glycerol, smooth sensation as well as the grip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you do get that. And they do have a bit of VA on them. Just a little bit though. It's very attractive. It just adds a little complexity. It's not distasteful.
Quite floral.
Yeah, they're floral too.
It's pretty. It's like
the florals you get on a raspberry, I find. The kind of raspberries that really have a lot of lift to their fruity character.
I get a little bit of rose, maybe, and so just sort of some little wild white meadowy sort of flowers. Nondescript meadowy, pretty flowers.
Yeah.
Do you know? Is it that the Gamay kind of thing, because that's a common finding you get in Beaujolais Gamay, or is it a carbonic maceration natural wine kind of quality, or is it both?
I think it's both. Yeah, I think Gamay does have that character, and when it's made in a slightly carbonic maceration style, then you do get a bit of that. So a little carbonic maceration here, and then it sees about 6 to 8 months in oak, but I think it's old oak. So you don't get the woodsy flavours. But I do find that Gamay in the Loire is a different expression to Beaujolais, and this is a really unusual expression of theirs because it's such a ripe vintage 2015, but usually much more earthy, and certainly in all cases, including this vintage, much more acid than
a typical
Beaujolais, and lighter as well on the palate. But they still have great texture, and I think that acid gives it the kind of moorishness. Maybe you have to be a bit of an acid fiend with your wine, or at least not mind higher acid styles. but and enjoy something a bit more rustic as well. So you don't mind a little bit of VA, and you don't mind a little bit of grip, and you don't mind high acid, and
even a bit of funk if you're lucky.
Yeah, if you get lucky. But yeah, it's just a very Moorish style because of all of those things.
So is Gamay a typical grape variety that is grown in the Loire, or is there something a bit atypical these guys are doing?
No, well, in the Eastern Loire there is a decent amount of it. There is a lot more Cabernet Franc in the Loire in general, but kind of more the eastern part of the Loire, it's traditional to have Gamay, Pinot Noir, and there is a decent bit of Côte Malbec, but not a lot. It kind of fell out of favour, I think. And then Grolot, Pinot Donné, you know, these are other varieties. There's only little amounts of, but that's one of the great things about the Loire is it's a big region, but particularly the Eastern Loire, mid to eastern kind of part of the Loire, and around Tours in particular, you get all these different grape varieties. So there's a plethora of Sauvignon Blanc, sure, but there's also all of this other stuff, little pockets of different varieties, old, traditional, and these guys, it's one of the great things about them. They've kind of reinvigorated some of these older vineyards, and they're making wines out of these more traditional grape varieties of the region. And they're just a really interesting point of difference.
You were saying that the style of Gamay that's done in the Loire, typically, you've found, is a lighter, fresher, sort of more acidic style than in Beaujolais. Would you say that's just amongst the people who are doing it in an organic, natural kind of way, or even traditional producers that still do non-organic, non-natural wines, it still expresses itself that way?
Yeah. I think it's just cooler climate, fair bit further north, and so there's more natural acidity there, and the fruit just doesn't ripen quite as much, doesn't get the heat of Beaujolais quite as much, and so the fruit profile tends to be more of those red fruit, like the berry fruits, raspberry, maybe sour cherry, red currant, you know, that kind of thing, rather than the darker cherry or more sweet strawberry or, you know, blackberry, those kind of things.
What kind of setting would you normally have a wine like this in, if it's a sort of lighter, fresher?
I think, well, it is actually very versatile, I feel, but I guess most people would probably go with a more casual setting, probably. I think it does work well as an aperitif because you can drink it, it's quite light, you can easily drink it by itself, but it does, you know, it's fine with food too. It's fine in a kind of casual party setting or a picnic setting, or but you can drink it in any setting. I think finger foods, you know, that kind of, it's conducive to that kind of setting, but it need not be. It can go with serious food as well, so
could even be a late night refresher.
yeah
And what kind of food would you pair this with?
I think it's pretty versatile. It's another one of those wines where I don't think it works, it's not a match made in heaven with much, but it just works fairly well with anything. Like, I think, a little bit of light protein can work well, but really cheeses, it's kind of the generic back label version of, you know, you get the bottles and they go, this goes well with pasta, chicken, fish, meat, like
soup
lamb,
dishes.
Beef, you know, like soup, so everything, basically, cheeses, desserts. No, I think it's it does work well as something as an aperitif style, nibbles, you know, cured meats, cheeses, you know, possibly salads, but the acid would have to not be too high, like low vinegar or lemon juice, whatever. And lighter meats probably, but
so delicious by itself, why would you bother eating with it?
Yeah, it's another one of those styles that's just easy to drink on its own, or Yeah, just have something simple with it.
Nibbles.
Pizza. I've drunk a fair few of these with pizza, and it's decent. It's quite a nice combination. Yeah, pasta dishes. Yeah, it's very
Anything
versatile.
goes.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a light, refreshing, easy, Moorish style of red, Gamay from the Loire Valley, Puzelat, Le Clos de Tue-Boeuf, La Butte. It's a fantastic drink.